frame within an auto layout, which is really clever. So another piece of functionality that I can't get my head around. Sorry, let me not say can't get my head around. I just got to play with it. So this is something that I'm definitely going to be going into and playing around with a bit more. Let me see if I can just do it while I'm here, potentially. So let's come out of dev mode, obviously. I'm in my playground. Let's drop some shapes in. Give that color. Boom. Let's give that a color. Let's give all these different colors. Let's see what we can do, because it should be quite straightforward. So I've actually created, let's say you've got a combination of things inside, you know, all that container. That's container number one. So you've got vertical. Let me not say that. Yep, vertical layout, horizontal layout, right? But now you've got the ability to wrap. So when it wraps, it will just automatically drop down onto that second line. And you can see how everything starts to follow that, which is really clever. So everything within the auto layout frame, or the auto layout, I should say, starts to wrap within. Now, if it was just on horizontal, what would happen is, unless I set everything in here to basically fill the frame, you know, if you want to maintain your height and width, then that doesn't really work. So now you can see everything's resizing within the frame, but that's only because I've put everything to fill within the frame. Another way you could do it is set the container to hug, but it only hugs the content within. But even though it hugs the content within, once you take that same frame, or that auto layout frame, I should say, and you start to move it, it becomes fixed. So this ability to wrap keeps everything contained and constrained within that auto layout, which is really clever, and allows you to be able to wrap within a frame, which is clever. So yeah, this is super good. Definitely something I'm going to be utilizing a lot more. So it allows you to really think about how you build your components a lot better. So let's say you had like a filter section, and in that filter section on a web page, you have multiple different options, and then you might want to show it in tablet form, mobile form, but it's the same filter. You might want options to wrap or something like that, like a blog page with all these different filters that go horizontally when it's in desktop, but it might wrap when it's on mobile. Potentially that could be a kind of use case. There's multiple use cases, by the way. I'm just trying to think of head as how that could actually work, which I think is super good as well. So another thing I want to talk about while we're here, I kind of wanted to share some design tips that I think would be super helpful. Let me just jump into a file quickly and just share with you some of the kind of things that I'm doing right now. One of the key things I want to share with you is a kind of structure that I use when building out funnels, when building out landing pages, when I'm helping, thinking about it with my teams, or working with specific on independent projects as well. So this is kind of a way that I build out landing pages with a simple structure. We call this the, well, 7 Ps, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 Ps of a landing page. Another formula that you can use is what we call ADA. And that's a really good structure to use when it comes on to landing pages, which is the ADA principle. So the ADA principle is awareness, interest, desire, and then action. And that could be a way that you can structure a web page. But I kind of wanted to share this with you because this is really, really good. So let's say you take a landing page. That landing page is really something that you can work with. So you might have, okay, what's the key promise that you're providing to that specific avatar or that specific person that you're selling this product or service to, and get specific, right? Outcome in no time without this struggle. So I always like to use numbers if possible. So, hey, within the next 90 days, try this, or use this product within the next night, or how this product can help change your life within the next 30 minutes or something like that. I'm not saying how to do that, but some kind of what we call a benefits driven statement. And if you can connect it with some numbers or something like that, that's really valuable as well. I don't really like spitting off head like this. I want to try and find some examples, but I really want to show you this structure to help you. So you've got your key promise that you might have top of the page. and kind of some image that relates to whatever you're selling. It could be a video, could be a contact form, etc. But image or video is ideal. Then proof is like, who have you worked with before in the past? Who are the companies that you're connected to? Who have you helped? Some kind of proof. So this could be companies, awards, associations, ratings, reviews, some kind of proof to just bring up social proof. What is the problem you're addressing? And I've put here the top 3 problems your ideal customer is facing now, plus a lead magnet or some very clear call to, I should actually say lead magnet / call to action. Some very clear call to action. So you can basically say headline about why we understand the problem, headline with a unique selling proposition and a short summary of the key feature and how it benefits to the customer. So you're just highlighting the problem, you're just agitating. Then you've got a clear, okay, basically now you know what's the promise, what's the proof, what's the problem. Now let me show you the process. So what you'll learn, here's how I will help you. Here's the process that we go through. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. Like, how do you actually do it, and being very clear about that process as well. And then you can go a bit into the person or the program or business, etc. that you're highlighting, and you can have it here. So this is now where you use the black to say visually, you're going to break the page, do something bold, different to kind of highlight who this person is or who this company is and what's so special about them. Then you can do more social proof again. Leveraging testimonials I find fantastic because that really is helpful. And then you can go into here's product or service. And this is an optional one, this product or service one, because this product or service can come out, and it could be where instead of product or service, what you could do is you basically have some kind of what we call a lead magnet. Download this guide, this white paper, etc. So you could be trying to give something away, or you might have some kind of product or service that you want to sell that goes there as well. Second page, like if it's a funnel, this is where you can use video, call out your ideal customer, use the video, and it's really clear. So this landing page or invitation page could actually be the first step in the funnel, but you can use both of these as structures. So like, when you've got video, what's great is your page density can be less because video can actually answer a lot more objections. Then more social proof, back to problem again, but you may not need to highlight as much. Go deeper into the process, who you are, who the business is, etc. You can use some form of what we call scarcity. We only have X amount of spots. We only work with X amount of people. This month we can only sign up 2 people. Will you be one of them, etc. And then you can go into what we call risk reversal. So this is basically how can you provide them with some sort of guarantee. So this could be if you don't make money in the first 90 days, you get all of your money back. Or maybe in a design standpoint, you might say something like, all right, work with us, and if you don't like what you see, we'll just refund you all your money within the first 30 days or something like that. So it's some way to just alleviate the risk, and then some frequently asked questions relevant to this offer, and then your foot's all right. So this is kind of like a clear structure, 2 clear structures to different first pages in the steps. Now you might use all 4 stages, where the first one you might want to go expand a bit more, speak a bit more about your offer. But I like to go specifically invitation page, leverage video. If you're not leveraging video, you might use images, but you might go deeper into the problem because you're not leveraging video. And then offer page, hey, book a roadmap, book a free strategy session. It could, and then the video, this is not really clear because basically one of the key things you want to do is basically, you want to, what we call, Calendly or some type of scheduling tool. This is not actually correct. Yeah. So ideally what you want here is some kind of like, hey, this is where you can do 2 things. You can basically send them straight to book a call, right? And that book a call would actually be this, where you have Calendly, some type of scheduling tool, or it could be, hey, here, let me tell you about what you're about to get. Let me go deeper into offer, just one more step, and then Calendly. So it's up to you. But more time, what I'm finding is you really only need 3 steps. Like, hey, let me tell you why you should sign up for this call, especially for service-based businesses anyway. This is great. Great funnel for service-based businesses. I should have clarified that in the beginning. But I like to use this structure to really help me think through how I'm building out pages. And it's really helpful as well to go through this. So here you could see where I'm working with this, an independent project, working with this client. His name's Garfield. You can see here his current website. You know, to the designers out there, you know, you can already see the issues, the font, the bold text. This is an actual graphic. The actual image is a graphic with him stuck on it, so it's not responsive. You know, placement of the button, logo and graphical style, the height of the logo, the size of the icon. Like, there's multiple different problems with this page. You know, the green color against the white background and contrast, and how does it work? And yeah, there's just multiple things, like just different sizes of text. I mean, you know, the lack of accessibility. You can't really see it potentially, but like there's a slight different green on some of the buttons as well, and the size of the buttons is slightly off by a couple pixels. So yeah, you know, this page is a page that we wanted to think through as to how we could work. And currently this project is still in process, so like it's not complete, but I just wanted to show you how I'm thinking about it, leveraging the structure that you saw previously. So here you've got some website copy, and this is me just basically, like, one of the key things I love to do is think through, okay, what are we actually working on? And before we actually go into design, let's just get the copyright. Who are we speaking to? So I do a whole process around who is our ideal customer, what's their pains, what's their fears, what's their desires, what's their goals, etc. Going deep into that. And then we kind of create copy that is reflective of who we're talking to, right? And the copy will help drive the design. And that's really helpful for so many designers. So their previous logo, the previous logo that he had was kind of this dated look and feel. And you've got this kind of modern sans serif font with this serif fonts, which is fine. But the issue is the placement of the text, just the way that it works in connection with his brand just didn't feel like the kind of direction he wanted to go. So one of the key things I did was kind of think through how we could redo the logo icon. That was one of the first things I worked on, making sure it looks good in black and white. To rechange the font. This font is called Helvetica New Medium Extended. And then I was playing around with this font here, which is called Canada Gothic. What's beautiful about what Figma have done now is that Figma now have this preview functionality within fonts, which is actually a plugin previously, which is called this plugin called Font Preview. And I used to use this plugin called Font Preview, but now I don't even need it anymore because Figma now allow you. I always wondered for the longest time, if I'm honest, why Figma took so long to, you know, that felt like a kind of foundational feature. Why would you not want that with so many fonts on someone's system, especially designers? Designers have tons of fonts on their systems. But it took them ages to get this in, but I'm just happy this is in because this is so beneficial for us as designers. But basically, you can see here, I'm just playing with different fonts, seeing how it works. One of the color palettes, because he's a finance coach, he specializes in helping businesses improve their finances and reach $1 million in revenue. This is something that I was like, all right, could we use different color palettes? He said he wanted something initially quite bold, quite different, to look separate from his competitors. So one of the key things I forgot to share with you is I would basically go and do some research, look at multiple different competitors online, see how their pages are designed, see how their layouts are. Here's what I'm talking about when I say benefits driven statements, leveraging numbers. So discover how to feel loved, safe, understood, happy, and committed in your relationships whilst fixing any issues in under 90 days, even if you're not the only one trying. So I thought that quite interesting. You know, you've got this the kind of benefits driven statement to the ideal customer, and that also has a very clear, you know, under 90 days promise, you know, very strong promise as well. So this is something that I can see where, okay, the benefits driven statement makes sense. Clear call to action, clear video. Here's what you'll get in this training. Click on this link and you can go through in the funnel. And that's why I want to show you in the structure of the landing pages. Here you can see some of the big boys in the space, Mel Robbins, some templates that I found on some, you know, I think they were Kajabi templates that I saw. And then just a few other like coach templates that I found as well. and I was looking at like different color schemes to just be completely different from what he had found previously. And what would that look like if me just playing around with color palettes and seeing what works. One of the color palettes I really liked was Envision's color palette. I thought it felt quite professional, quite mature, while at the same time quite modern, if that makes sense. Just the look and feel, I think it was done really well with this branding. And the color palette they've used is quite a challenging palette, but I think it's the way they've executed it is really, really good. So to the Envision team out there, if any of you are watching this, well done. Really good work from you guys. So yeah, so just back to the original. When I looked at it, I just wasn't feeling it. So I started to play around with the logo, getting the logo right, making sure that worked. This was a quick project. It's only it's about 3 days of work, ideally after work. So I'm doing this in the evenings after work, just 3 days. Then you've got, you know, boom, me playing around with it on here, seeing if any of them stood out. And there was 2 that really stood out to me. That kind of yellow against the black was quite strong. And then this black against the green, black against white was strong. And then also this kind of green with this kind of off-white cream is what I liked as well. So then I started to just not do the designs of the website, but just playing around with the actual layout on page. The only thing is his images were not up to date. No modern images, just images that I had to like borrow from LinkedIn and stuff. And see how can we just leverage. I only had 3 images, see what it worked. So it's just me playing around with that money green and seeing and nothing worked. Like no matter how I structured the page, nothing really worked. So we had a conversation about this, and you know, content was still working on the content, still working through design. We're nowhere near there yet. But one of the key things that we kind of landed on was this new visual, brand new image, which feels a lot more professional, a lot better, cleaned and kicked it right back, just keeping it white. But instead of me using the black, I used the dark forest green. I use a dark forest green on the fonts, and you can see here where we use this font here called Canada Gothic, extra bold. See it's at 120 height, because I was like anything less can feel like, you can see here where the comma kind of taps into it, and anything more than 120 kind of feels a bit too spacious. So I kept the line height here at 120 because I felt like that was like a really nice balance. And then you've got like a couple pixels here, about 3 or 4 pixels between that comma here. So I feel like it felt like this actually worked a lot better, but I'm still trying to play with this kind of like sans serif fonts versus sans serif fonts on the buttons. So you can see here where we've got this font here. What is a font here I use called New York Extra Large versus this font here called Circular, right? You can see here where this font here is called Circular. So I'm just trying to see like which one would make more sense when I'm laying it out as well on the page, and which one feels a bit better. And then the structure, I'm still trying to work through how content will be laid out on the page. I'm not trying to get this design ready 100% yet. He's got an app, so we're still going to get that screenshot in and get more content on the page. But I was like, okay, cool. So let me go darker and see how a darker palette feels. So this is kind of how I'm thinking about it, just working through the different designs. I do have tons of competitors that I'm looking at, but I'm not even trying to. I hope you can see the difference between like some of these competitor websites and how they structure it. It's like very much like heavy funnel driven salesy structures to like a lot of their pages. So it's all about funnels. This is all funnel driven, built-in click funnels. So it looks like it, all the like funnel driven structure and style, very American way of design, which works really well for these kind of heavy funnels. But for a landing page of a coach, this needs, for me, it needs to be just kicked right back. Who are you? What do you do? And keep it really like considered in the way that he presents himself as well. So this is me playing with the kind of yellow as well. How does yellow work? Now I've kind of decided where we're using the Canada font here in the titles. We might use a more sans serif font here on the actual call to actions to see how that feels as well. So I'm kind of landing upon these 2 for now. So where the money green, the kind of dark forest green sits in the back, and the money green becomes our core CTA on the site. The rest of the site, I'm still working through the design, but I just wanted you to see this as I'm working on something in progress. But if you think about where we were over here on the left to where we are now to here on the right, personally, I feel like we're like completely in a different space, right? Talking to a much more mature, design mature audience. They understand what good design looks like, how you present well. And here you can see, this is now how you can feel a lot more confident having a site like this. Imagine this in mobile, where it kind of starts to stack as well. I feel like this will work really well. So I'm still work in progress. If you guys want to see more like this, let me know, and I'll happily share that with you as well. So before we go on, one of the key things I want to talk about